Last year, Scituate High School received an addition, the Performing Arts Center. This auditorium, as well as the music room, have been utilized since it was completed a year ago next month. Between our Performing Arts Center and the Science Wing, there is an empty courtyard with only a walkway and a frozen-over garden. At the beginning of this year, a complicated issue arose. A door that leads to the aforementioned courtyard was labeled as solely an emergency exit, disallowing students from passing through. This forced students to take alternate routes, such as through the gym or even around it. In the barred courtyard, there is a frozen-over garden, which was started by a student named Birch Swart. He has an important and a unique view on the subject, so he is one of my interviewees. What have you done out there, just to explain it?
So basically it started as just all dirt and stones and stuff, and then I saw it one day and I was like, this is ridiculous, like we should put something actually, like that actually affects the school out there. Our school is very green, so it's the one step towards making it better. So it's basically that entire courtyard. I designed the whole thing with a greenhouse and a garden and composting bins and a small fruit orchard and a patio for us to learn outside, and even like herb spaces for like chamomile and other herbs that the cafeteria can use. So it's basically that entire space that's meant for kids.
Another opinion I felt was important to this project was the gym teachers, because when students aren't allowed through the courtyard, students cut through the gym. So I asked them a few questions. How often do music students during the day walk through your class while it's going on?
They try to do it quite often, but we've had to stop them because it could be dangerous too for them, and they're just walking through with their heads down and a ball comes across. So we've had to stop them quite a bit.
Yeah, not too often, but again, during class sometimes we wonder why they're moving around the building in the middle of a class. It's not just a transition time.
To find possible counters of the gym teachers' opinions, I interviewed some music students. So what's your typical route to the music room from any class?
It depends what block it is, but I usually have to go around the gym.
My typical route is through the courtyard because I refuse to go the long way. Or through the gym. In the morning it's through the gym when there's not a class going on, but if there's class it's through the courtyard.
Have you ever been given trouble for walking through the gym or the courtyard?
Yep, I've been yelled to turn, in the gym I've been yelled at and told to turn back, even though there was barely a class going on yet. They were just talking in a circle in the middle of the room and we got screamed at and told to turn around.
Yeah, along the week, how often are you in the music room?
Every day at least once or twice.
Right.
Usually twice.
Probably from a half an hour to an hour and a half every day, sometimes more.
And are there any solutions to, the courtyard being restricted, anything like that you would like to have fixed?
I think if we could have the courtyard open, it would solve a lot of the problems, because if we had the courtyard open, no one would even be tempted to go through the gym or bother the gym classes at all. And I think it would just be helpful to have that open because that's the quickest route and the easiest way to get here.
All right, awesome.
Without disrupting.
As soon as I sat down to have an interview with Mr. Wargo, he suggested that we time the amount of time to see if it really is the quickest way to go through the courtyard.
All right, put on stopwatch. We're going to start from here. You ready?
Sounds good.
Okay. So this is the path we've asked people to use. If you're in this area and you want to get to the band room between classing time, all you do is walk right through the gym, and that's already been designated.
According to the gym teacher's interview, they disagree with this designated route.
That's probably going to be locked, so I'm going to have to stop this for a second.
At 36 seconds.
36 seconds. Now, what we'll do is we'll go from this door backwards to the quad.
Sounds good.
And we'll see how that goes. I'm going to start. Here we go. All right. So it was
44, 92.
So the other way was.
You're welcome.
Appreciate that.
They want you guys to present it.
Right.
Right. So what's the evidence shows that it's actually quicker walking through the building than walking outside through the quad.
So I have a couple questions in addition. Would
Yeah.
you mind if do you want to go somewhere else?
No, I want to go back to that.
Yeah, sure. If this courtyard is restricted, then how come the quad with the trees and the pond and everything isn't?
It's a great question. So the other one we see as a viable way and a pass-through from getting to one side of the building to the other. We would love for this to be that. It just right now, if you go into that space, there's only really one place you're going, and that's the auditorium. And because it's such a new space and there's such a lot of things in there that could possibly be considered attractive nuisances, someone could get in trouble or someone could get hurt, and there's not supervision in those areas. So if you go into that quad, besides going to the back of the auditorium, you're walking through the front of the auditorium, which I guess could be a shortcut to get to the cafeteria. But we are truly trying to make sure this is a more accessible space, because as you can see, we just talked about, Birch and others have built the garden. We're going to someday put a greenhouse out there. We're going to put out a patio with tables and chairs so students can go out there. So sometimes it might be a destination more than a pass-through. So it might be a place you go to, and then you leave the same way you came in.
When I was talking to Wargo, he was basically saying like the same, like I said, the same thing as you were with, putting a greenhouse out there and all the things that are about to happen with the courtyard, and that he saw it more as a place that you go into and then go back through the door you came out of, as opposed to a thru-way. So, do you have any opinion on that?
I like it as a thru-way, because that little stretch where there's basically the walkway, the way I designed it is it's going to be all flowers. So it's a nice little break through the day. So you're walking through, and it's a proven fact that walking through nature and like seeing plants during the day helps your mood. So I think that's just something if you're having a bad day and you walk out and you see a bunch of bloomed flowers and it's like nice and it smells nice out there, it smells like, I don't know, lavender or something, and it's just an exciting start to your day. So it's like you just walk through there, go to chorus or band or wherever you want, even if you're not like in chorus or band, you can still just walk out there, take a breath, even go back into the school. It's just kind of that decompressing space.
So even between a highly involved student and administration, there is inconsistency. And do you think there will ever be a point where it'll be a walk-through type place?
I won't say no. Yeah.
So what we had done earlier is go through the gym rather than through the courtyard.
Right.
And that ended up being like a good amount of time faster. But the problem that a lot of students have is that when they try to cut through the gym, there might be classes going on. And I just interviewed a couple of music students who have been stopped from going through the gym, so they would have to go like around the gym, which takes like a minute at least longer.
And that's true. So I guess the question for me is, I guess the goal is you're going through the gym during passing time. After the passing time is over, that becomes a classroom. Just like we want to walk through any other classroom, we want to walk through the gymnasium to get to some other place. So I guess the question is, why are people trying to get to that locale after the period has started? I don't know the answer. Maybe they forgot their instrument. They've got to go and grab it.
Or it could be that their class is very far away, since the auditorium is in like a spot that's like, or the music room rather, is in a spot that's a little further away than maybe. It all depends on the circumstance, really.
All right, so let's do that next time. Let's walk the furthest point away from there and see if it takes us more than 4 minutes to get down there. Because if it does, then I've got to make some allowances.
Mr. Wargo and I were not able to get together to time this, so I did it myself. So now I'm going to be going from Mr. Mackey's room, which is basically the furthest point away from the music room, to the music room by taking the route from here to the gym, but going around it and then into the music room to see if it fits in the 4-minute bell. So we will start in a few seconds. And we're starting now. And stopping it at 3 minutes and 25 seconds, we are at the music room. Something worth noting here that I didn't think about until after is that it usually takes about 30 seconds to a minute to leave your class after the bell rings. So the 3 minutes and 25 seconds is in addition to however long it takes you to get out of your classroom, which could easily end with you being late and interrupting a gym class. Meaning, Mr. Wargo, under realistic circumstances, needs to make some allowances. Here are some solutions to address the issue of tracking in mud or snow into the new space. So for the lobby, what we can do is unlock these doors, first of all, so that a lot of people can use this as a thru-way and not only just get to their class a little faster, but also see the beautiful art that a lot of people have created here. Because this is such a wonderful facility, even before you get into the music room or the auditorium, that it would be a great thing for people to do to relax. Now, a solution to this door being locked quite often is that we can just unlock it and people can use it as a thru-way to get to their classes. And to address Wargo's concerns about this being a new space and us dragging in mud, there is literally a steel-bolted mat just below me. I also made a little mock-up of a sign that could be put on the door to make sure people wipe their feet. In case there's a gym class going on and you must go through the courtyard in order to get to the music room, this would be a perfect spot for a mat and the sign we were talking about from earlier. With these things, then it would do exactly what Wargo wants, which is to prevent dirt and snow and mud from getting inside of the new space. Also, just an extra note, you should probably take down the emergency exit only, no access to the auditorium sign, because this clearly does not welcome people into a space that's supposed to be relaxing. And not only does it prevent Birch and other students from supporting what he wants to do out here, it also is not technically an emergency exit according to the Occupational Safety and Health Administration. I'm going to say one more thing to wrap up. I should not be making a project about this. This is extremely petty for something that's so simple. This is literally the smallest issue that we have with the Performing Arts Center and Music Room. This has not only been blown up by students, but also administration on a big laminated poster. There is mud and sometimes snow. This can be solved by a singular $42 mat. But this isn't about the courtyard. This is about the Performing Arts Center. It's a new space, and it seems that administration doesn't believe we'll treat it as that. But so far, as you can tell by the photos I'm showing, we've only adored it since it was built. We will take care of the space if you allow us to. Thank you.